So anyway, let's talk about Audacity. Audacity is free, a free DAW. Okay, digital audio workstation, in case you're not familiar with that term, um, that I have been familiar with since the 90s. I was first introduced to Audacity by a freelance audio editor at Sears back in the 90s. And he had a copy on his home computer. We were doing an offsite project, and I was working with him, and he was doing the editing on his home computer in Audacity. And I'm like, hey, that's a pretty cool program. You know, I might be interested in something like that. How much did it cost? He says, oh, it's free. What? It's completely free. So I love Audacity. It does everything I need because I don't have any major, like serious, audio editing needs. Not like what I would have done when I was doing, projects at Sears. But for this stuff, it's all pretty straightforward. And Audacity is flexible enough. I don't need to spend money on, Pro Tools or anything like that. Audacity does it all. And it's free. And it's cross-platform. There are versions for, Linux and I believe there's a Mac version. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never researched that. Audacity, it's open source, so it's constantly being developed and worked on. And you can hear the phone going in the background. Shut up! I have no idea what that is. Oh, anyway, I'm getting sidetracked about Audacity. There was, there was a story that came out regarding Audacity because the software was bought by a private company, and they have changed their policies a little bit, and it's making Audacity users freak out because they're thinking that this now Audacity has become spyware, and that maybe they shouldn't use Audacity anymore. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a little bit of video here from another YouTube video. This is someone who is responsible in part for me using this microphone that I'm using. Because I watched his review of this microphone, which I didn't think I'd be interested in. I thought I would sound like I'm talking into a sock, because the only experience I had had from listening to this microphone was watching the Howard Stern show, and his sidekick, Robin Quivers, used this mic, and it sounded like she was talking into a sock. And I thought, well, I don't own a mic like that, for crying out loud. So I watched his review, and it's part of the reason why this mic is in front of me now. Unless you think I sound like I'm talking into a sock. I don't think I do. But anyway, I'm going to play a little bit of this again. And we'll probably not play the whole thing. And if you're interested, I can provide a link to this one too, so you can hear more of it. Anyway, this is from the Bandrew Says podcast. Maybe some of you either watch Bandrew's podcast or his podcasted channel, where he reviews microphones and other audio gear. But anyway, this is Bandrew talking about Audacity.
I have not done huge amounts of research into this because this is no surprise. This should be expected. Audacity was bought out, and then they changed their privacy policy. Now they're going to be collecting data on you. For years, I have parroted because I heard this. It makes sense. I have screamed about it. If you are using a product and you are not paying for it, you are the product. So the fact that Audacity was purchased and they are now going to be collecting data and monetizing you, it's no surprise to me. You shouldn't be surprised. However, there have been some forks of it because Audacity is open source. So you should be able to find a new fork of Audacity that has all the same features, all of that, without the infringement on your privacy. And for the time being, that should be a solution, but you should not be surprised. And then somebody on Twitter, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting your name right now because my brain isn't functioning, Beige Boy, I believe it was, pointed out that they have a new policy and they're stating you can't use it unless you're 13 years old. That makes perfect sense. COPPA is a thing in the U.S., COPPA. That means that companies cannot collect data on individuals who are under the age of 13. I think Audacity, whoever owns Audacity now, will learn quickly that that will not hold up in court. You can't just say, hey, if you're using this, you agree that you're 13 years or older, because that's what YouTube did. That did not hold up for YouTube. They had to make a bunch of changes to YouTube. They had to really focus on driving people to YouTube Kids. They had to make all the changes on the back end. So if you're uploading a video, you have to manually mark if the video is made for children or not. If it is, it will not be distributed to people. It will not show up in subscription feeds. People cannot comment on it. YouTube made a bunch of changes to their platform to abide by COPPA. Audacity being bought out, implementing all of this telemetry information so they can collect all your data, and then adding a line saying you can't use it unless you're 13, I don't think that's going to fly. I think they're going to have to be a little bit better about that. But all in all, no big surprise. Go find a new fork. There's a bunch of them that will not collect your data as far as I know.
And I think that's probably all you need to know about what's happened to Audacity. Again, the first videos I saw, all this panic. Oh my God, Audacity spyware. We must get rid of it. Banish it from your system immediately. It's sadly the new reality. I mean, it is the reality of the internet. You are giving up privacy in order to use the internet. And if you don't want to, the only way to avoid that is to not use the internet in any way, shape, or form. Because commerce fuels the internet. I mean, it's no longer ARPANET. It's no longer the purview of the Defense Department and academics who are sharing data and storing data redundantly in the event of a nuclear attack. It's long, long past that. Tim Berners-Lee made this commercially viable when he created the World Wide Web. Sorry, Al Gore, you didn't do it. As a Brit. and you know, humans, especially humans who grew up in, you know, market economy societies, are going to look to make a buck. And they're looking to make bucks. And some of them do it, you know, ethically and responsibly, and that's cool. Others do it on the margins, on the fringes, and sometimes they just flat out break the law. That's why, you know, retired guys are starting their own meth labs because they're on fixed income and it's not enough. So you make some meth, you sell some meth, and you just don't report the earnings. Unfortunately, the human race cannot be trusted. And that's just sadly the way it is. And Audacity, again, if you're really concerned about that, and personally, to an extent I like to keep a small footprint, I will be looking for one of those Audacity forks, and I'll be using that from now on. I won't be using the standard Audacity. Because the fork should be just fine. Or I've got older versions of Audacity that haven't been, you know, tainted, and I'll use those. They'll work just as well. They'll work just fine. But all the panic that goes on, it's clickbait. It's like people, they just gotta get those clicks, because that's how you get your notoriety. That's how you get your monetization, by clicks. You know, and the more you can get, the better. As long as you're not violating rules that would deny you the monetization, if you can get the maximum number of clicks, you're golden. So, hype these things up. Audacity is spyware. You can't upgrade your 2-year-old machine to Windows 11. It's just wrong. It's not going to happen. And to a large extent, in the one case, it's somewhat of a load of crap. And in the other case, it is what it is. Get over it. Get a fork. That's all. Like Aaron Rodgers says, and I hate to mention Aaron Rodgers' name, but I'll mention Aaron Rodgers, quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, who I'm hoping will be hired as the permanent host of Jeopardy, so I don't have to see him again in a Packer uniform versus the Chicago Bears. Relax. 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 We can fight for some of our privacy back. I think we should do that personally, but until we do, until we get sympathetic voices in Congress or in the private sector, until we do, it is what it is, and just do what you can to protect your privacy. Keep your footprint small. Some people, they will dive into social media whole hog and then wonder why. Oh, how come I'm getting these ads? I was just looking at computers, and all of a sudden, wherever I go, Facebook, Google search, I'm getting ads for the product that I was looking for. Well, what did you think was going to happen? Really?